Roger Shimamura was one of my painting professors in art school. I only had one class with Roger and his fellow professor, Michael Ott, who tragically passed away from a fall off a ladder. They taught us the basics of screen printing. Although he was not one of my main professors, I did get to know him, and over the years afterwards got to know him even better. I had the privilege of going to his studio in his very interesting home and saw basically how he worked on his paintings, which convinced me he really is a very competent draftsman and a very creative mind. I've always admired his technique of working on what I believe are acrylics, considering I primarily prefer oils. I respect the fact that producing these paintings in acrylics takes much effort in order to get the almost perfect fills and line work. His surfaces are smooth, with no impasto or brush marks. His work always made me think of individual cells of comic books telling some narration, sometimes blatantly humorous, tongue-in-cheek, and others telling a story of his life from being a Japanese man growing up during the Japanese internment camp era of World War II. Having had that oppressive experience as a youth, I have always respected his narration regarding the inequalities he felt then, and probably even forward, in being a Japanese American. His insightful and illuminating portrayal of this part of his life is unique and a wonder to behold. As a professor, he was one of the new instructors at the painting program that I was involved in, and was clearly one of the most outspoken and witty of the dozen or so instructors. Then, over the years, on several occasions, when I met him at one of the local drinking establishments, we would rarely talk about art, but I knew it was always a thread running through his mind. He was a character that I cherished many times. Still is. His success as an artist and as a draftsman was an inspiration to me many, many times over. There always seemed to be some dark humor to our conversations, which I found interesting and humorous. Roger was well accepted by the Fine Arts Department and retired emeritus a number of years ago, focusing more and more on his just being a serious and productive artist, both in painting and in printmaking. I like his work because it is clearly well done and poignantly narrative. Some of his self-portraits showing him as Superman or as Superman being beat down by Mickey Mouse are quite strong and incredibly expressive of his outrageous extrovert personality, if it is really so, which I've always loved, respected, especially his self-image as George Washington crossing the Delaware with a boat of samurais. Okay, Roger, keep those troops ready for action. Pop art is obviously a major influence on Roger's work. Tom Wesselman, Warhol, Roy Lichtenstein, and others. I especially enjoy his homage to these pop characters and think his work is profound and more tongue-in-cheek so many times. It has been a joy knowing Roger, and I hope others can see how powerful his work really is. I am Preston McCall, and I enjoy making these naked artist exposure videos. From a painter's point of view, and not as any well-educated art historian, I hope you can understand that I am from a different point of view, and really do not care to make many deep intellectual extrapolations about paintings or the history of art. I personally think it's more about just looking at the work and wondering what an interesting story is being told. They are visual. They are stimulations for the childlike imagination we all hold as enjoyable and delightfully bewildering. As Picasso lamented, if I wanted to tell a story in words, I would have written a poem. Obviously, sometimes a painting is just a visual experience and not an intellectual pursuit of some lofty interpretation of some set of supercilious suspicions. I believe Roger Shimamura does a fine job of just being a great painter. Thanks for watching. Again, I'm Preston McCall, and please hit the like and subscribe buttons to the channel. The subscriptions help me make more of these, so look for more. Thank you.